which is the point of evolution for all of us. And it gives great pleasure to Sahaja Yogis to see so many other people coming along to get their realisation, because the experience, once you achieve it, makes you collectively conscious and puts you in touch in a very real way with the vibrations of other people and with your own vibrations, of course, so that you're able to feel the exact condition of your subtle body and your spirit and your chakras, which are these coloured circles here represent the subtle transformers of energy that are placed within us along the sympathetic nervous system. And in the centre there, between the yellow and blue lines, is the area in which the Kundalini energy rises when it's awakened by the presence of another being who already has that awakened within them and is emitting the vibrations that are the same as the universal Kundalini energy. Kundalini in Christian terms is called the Holy Spirit, and it's the same energy that's described in the New Testament as a cool wind. In Indian scriptures it's described as the Chaitanya, as cool vibrations, and in Muslim scriptures it is called the Ruh, and also described as cool vibrations. And these cool vibrations that you feel once you receive the awakening are the vibrations of absolute truth. Once you develop this awareness, you're able to ask any absolute question, and by holding your hands out, you can ask, if you're an atheist, you can ask the existence of God, and whether you get a cool or a warm vibration, you can tell whether what you're asking about is true or not true. So there's no need to use the intellect anymore to try and work out things, because that's a limited sphere of activity. But you actually, once you get your realisation, you go beyond mere thinking into the unlimited, into the divine area. I think it's a relief to be with people who are seeking their spirit, who do have a desire to know the divine and to understand those things that in this society have almost become taboo subjects, that there's so much emphasis around us in our upbringing on material success and competition and doing better than everybody else and achieving things, that the subtle things that are much more important get pushed completely into the background. And sometimes we feel as if we're quite out of step with everything, because we know that there's this uneasy feeling that there's something wrong with the world at the moment, but we can't put it right ourselves. And it can be quite distressing. In my experience, once I actually received my realisation from Mother 2 years ago in Melbourne at a program like this, I couldn't believe it, that I had found what I was looking for without even quite knowing what it was that I was looking for. And it's because at first you try and understand it with your intellect, and it doesn't seem to even make sense. And a lot of people actually, their self-esteem's been so damaged by their seeking that it's hard to believe that you yourself could have this quality within you just waiting to be awakened. So perhaps before Mataji arrives, it would be good if you could just sit quietly and don't try and do anything. If you've been in the habit of doing particular types of meditation or techniques, just try and put them aside and just have a completely open mind about this experience, because it is different, although the terms may be familiar to you from readings and teachings that you've had. It's best to sort of try and approach it like a child, with complete openness and freshness. There's nothing frightening about the experience, because it is in fact a gift of God to us, and God is compassion and love. And the vibrations that you feel once your Kundalini is awakened are those vibrations that come from that being. And there's nothing to be afraid of, although some books do say that Kundalini awakening can be dangerous and so on. The people who've written those have experienced something quite different. But the actual experience should give you peace and joy, which is absolute. So if you can just try and just be at peace now and quiet and in a receptive frame of mind, and enjoy the experience when Mother comes. Thank you.
Would you like to speak today seated? Again, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure, especially to the
Thank you very much.
especially to the people who've come for the first time. There are many who couldn't come either last evening or today to the workshop. To all of you, welcome. Sri Mataji is here for the first time in Perth to grant self-realization, not just on a one-to-one basis, but to as many people as desire it from their heart. Many got it last night. Some came to the workshop today and experienced something more. All of you have to get it, because this is the time when the grace of God is overflowing, and all of the true seekers of ages have to get their self-realization. It's the reward of their seeking. It's the blessing of their past births and all the seeking of God over the ages. We've all probably been a Christian. We've all been a Jew. We've all been a Muslim. We've been worshippers of God the Father and God the Mother at many, many times in history. And so now the time has come when we can get that final step in our evolution, which is just to be triggered by an enlightened being, and which, once you get it, you can develop to that point where you become totally one with God. This is the real yoga. Yoga, as you know, means union, oneness with God. It's not exercises, it's not some discipline. It's the actualization of self-realization. And so without any further introduction by me, it gives me again great pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce to you Her Holiness Sri Mataji Nirmala Devi.
To all the seekers of truth and joy, I bow. It was really nice this morning to meet some earnest seekers, come down the place where I live, and to get their ultimate, what they are seeking. We have to know that God has created us with a purpose. He has worked for so many years. He has made us human beings with such care and love. There has to be a purpose behind it. We also know that we have not yet found our purpose, and that's why we are seeking. If we understand that, then one must know that something has to happen. God has to save His creation, and His greatest creation is a human being. This is what He has done out of all the creation, that He tried to evolve, and that's how human beings are created. Only thing was, a human being was given freedom to choose between the right and the wrong for life. It so happened that human beings, in their error, naiveness, I should say in ignorance, did lots of mistakes. Doesn't matter. Even if they have done, most of them have come to right conclusion. And that right conclusion, as I told you yesterday, sums up like this: that whatever is going to happen to us, further than this, it has to be spontaneous. It's a living process that has made us human beings, nothing dead. If the living process has to work it out, then it has to be spontaneous. We cannot work it out. Secondly, that you cannot pay for it or you cannot maneuver it. And thirdly, that you cannot put in any effort. It has to be effortless. If it is the most vital thing for God, it has to be effortless. So that's how we reach certain conclusions, that self-realization, if it is the epitome of our evolution, it has to be absolutely freely given and has to happen in a very spontaneous way. Yesterday I explained to you in short all the various types of ideas people have about self-realization and what we have to expect about self-realization. We had another inquiry this morning about Kundalini, that a gentleman asked me a question saying that he has read some books which are all the time warning that Kundalini business is very difficult. It comes up to a point but not beyond a point, and all sorts of stories. And I have to tell you that that's not true. Kundalini is your own mother. You have your individual mother. And she's waiting all the time, all these years, just to give you your second birth. She never harms you. She never troubles you. She doesn't do anything of that kind. I don't know the people who do not know how to do the thing or who have no authority must be doing all these kind of tricks and must be suffering from Kundalini awakening. I know of one gentleman who in Kashmir said that he's got Kundalini awakening and he had tremendous heat and tremendous burning and all sorts of things, and that it's a very dangerous thing. He has written a book on that, some sort of I'm forgetting the name of the book. Now this gentleman himself is leading a very horrible life. Of that I have been able to find out. He has all sorts of relations and is leading a very ridiculous life, not suitable for any saint. If such a man has to have a Kundalini awakening, I can't understand how can Kundalini come to him. But must be some sort of a God's anger on him, that he has felt this kind of a feeling within him, maybe. Or maybe he has been to somebody who is a wrong type of a person, who has awakened the Kundalini without any authority. And maybe that time, the first stage, as I told you, is it there? The chart is not there? Yes. The first deity I told you did not like it and got angry. And the whole sympathetic nervous system on the left-hand side and right-hand side got angry. And when that happened, the person can develop a lot of heat and a lot of blisters. I have seen a person getting a blister all over, all around his neck. At the very outset, I must tell you that heat is the sign of violent action. Say, for example, if you heat the helium gas, the molecules of the helium gas start going all round. They are very volatile. They start moving in a way that you feel that two armies are fighting. Then you find that 10 armies are fighting. Then you find all of them are fighting with each other. But if you cool it down, their action is very collective. They move in a smooth manner, in a very collective manner. So, one can see that when we are heated up also, you see, a man is very hot-tempered. Means he is a very angry person and he cannot carry on with others. He has no patience. But when we see that a person is cool, he is collected, then we say he is a nice person. In the same way, if you feel heat from your Kundalini, then be sure that something is wrong that is resisting you. Even while giving realization, in the beginning, you do feel little heat because the heat of the body has to go out. But today, I am going to tell you more about, particularly more about the chakras and not about the general things that I told you last time. In any case, you can get the book and you can come to our centers and clarify it more and more. But as much as possible, today I will try to tell you about the chakras, how we spoil them, and what are the effects of the subtle chakras which look after our gross plexuses within our body. Please be seated. Now the first chakra, as I told you, is called as the Muladhara chakra. I'm sorry. Is it all right now? Can you see it?
Just raise it slightly, whether it's a little low.
You can't hear? All right. Now this is the first center, which is a subtle center within us. Now this center is manifesting outside what you call the pelvic plexus. The pelvic plexus is responsible for all our excretions. Whether you like it or not, it is there. It is present within us. And it looks after all our excretory functions. It is important to see that this chakra is placed under the Kundalini. So when the Kundalini rises, the Kundalini is the power within you, the pure power of desire, the desire that you want to become one with the divine. Now it lies below. This chakra lies below is a very important point, that this chakra does not play any part in the ascent of the Kundalini because Kundalini doesn't pierce through it. On the contrary, if this chakra is pure, the information about somebody who can raise your Kundalini can be easily communicated through this chakra. But it does not play any part in our evolution. That means sex does not play part in our evolution. Animals know what sex is. Human beings know what sex is. Sex is a part very natural within us, and for our ascent, the sex does not play any part. At the time when the Kundalini is rising, the Kundalini, who is the mother of the deity of the center, this Kundalini is the virgin. So he is looking after the protocol of the Virgin. And this Kundalini, when she has to rise, if you have by any chance something wrong with this chakra, then it takes time for Kundalini to rise. Because this center has to give permission, or you can say the sanction, that it's all right and that Kundalini can rise. So this is the sustaining force, or is the center of the Kundalini itself. Now the word Mooladhara means the one who is the support of the Moola is what? Moola is of the root. The root is the Kundalini, and it resides in that area that is called as Mooladhara, while the center is down, and the center is called as Mooladhara chakra. That's how we have these two things separate. Now this center is important because it gives sustenance, it looks after the protocol of your Kundalini. So anybody who says that you can ascend through sex, please be sure you are misled by that. I do not want to mislead you. I want you to have your self-realization, because you are people who are seekers, not today, you have been seekers for ages. And no use running after something because it appeals to your weaknesses or because it supports some sort of a thing which you heard before, like Freud. Now what Freud has said is absolutely wrong, because what he has achieved today, you can see very clearly that all the societies in the West are finished. This is thanks to the unholy trinity. One of them was Mr. Freud. And when I said this in Austria, people were very happy, because they were feeling guilty that it is Freud whom they supported always, and what he has done is played a mess with everybody's life. He just knew one side of life, that one side which starts from the sex, goes upward. That's only the desire. That's only the desire power. But he did not know the other side. When he talked that you should not be conditioned at all, he did not know that if you do not condition yourself, then there is another side which is much more dangerous, and that is the side of ego. This is what exactly Hitler did. He used his ego, and with his ego, what he has done, and so many such people who are thinking there's nothing like conditioning, what's wrong, and what they achieve is nothing but a very bumptious, useless ego which cannot see the truth. Anybody who pampers that ego, they run after it. And they say, this is your name, big name they give you, or they tell you, oh, you just do this, you look like this, you wear this, you do this. You get quite satisfied with it. You have to be honest. If you are not honest to it, how will you get your realization? You have to be honest. To get your realization, you have to be a human being first and last. If you are not a human being, you are just trying to do something which is so outside. It is all outside. If you are doing something outside, you cannot get it inside. It has to happen inside. I feel concerned because you people are realized person if you take to reality. But if you don't take to it, what's going to happen to you? Because you are seekers. You are not like mundane, ordinary people who are not seeking, who are just seeking money or position or thing. You are special people. You are people of God who have to become prophets, and you must have powers to make others prophets, as William Blake has said about 100 years back. You are that type of people, and you should not waste your energy believing into things which is not true. Is not true, because you see the Kundalini is placed above that point which we call as sex. We are not sex points. To reduce ourselves to sex points is the minimum, I've said the most degrading thing that can happen to human beings. We are the highest type of creation of God. Sex everybody has, even earthworms have, every sort of nonsense has sex. What's so great about sex? There is so much we talk about sex as if we are important people. There is nothing in sex that can give you your realization. Of course, you have to lead a sanity, you have to understand a life of sanity and lead a life of understanding about sex. Sahaja Yoga is never against sex. We believe in sensible marriages, bringing up children who are very realized souls to be born on this earth. That is the thing we have to achieve. There are so many great people who want to be born. But the people who are going to give them birth are lost into nonsensical things. They are just lost. They have no idea as to the whole, what part, what role they have to play into it. And just they get lost in their individual understanding of a thing. It is not that. You have to understand it's a very cosmic thing that's happening, and thousands and thousands and thousands of people have to get their realization. That's the main thing. If you don't get your realization, I must say the age-old desire of yours is lost forever. So don't fix your mind into some idea which somebody has screwed into your head because thousands are running after it. Maybe that reality cannot have thousands. Maybe millions we can't have. I know that. Reality is not easy to accept. Never people accepted reality so far. When Christ came in, how they behaved. When Buddha came in, how they behaved. Nobody does that way. It's not a horde that's walking towards it. It's not a shoals of fishes walking towards it. It's not a big mob walking towards it. It's every person who has to receive the realization. And you have to pay full attention to it. You have to respect yourself and know that you are a seeker. And as a seeker, you all must get your realization. Otherwise, you have no meaning, no purpose, nothing. And if you join any purposeless pursuit, I would say, I have told with all earnestness and with all my love, but if you don't want to understand it, nobody can force your realization into it. So please understand that first thing is to get your realization. If you can't get your realization, then you have lost the biggest chance of your life. You all have to become your spirit, yourself. And this is the great instrument God has created within you. As I told you yesterday, this is the knowledge of the roots within us. And this knowledge you have to understand first of all. You need not accept it, but you should not deny. With open mind, listen to me, what happens and how these chakras are within us and how they react and how we falter. So one of the first things I have to tell you that sex plays no part in Kundalini ascent as far as its piercing is concerned, means it does not have to pass through that. Whatever is the truth, I have to tell you. You may not like it, but I have to tell you. I am not here to seek votes or to have elections or to collect money out of you. I don't want to buy Rolls Royces, nothing of the kind. I am here to give you what you have, what is your own. I am just here to give you that, what is your own property. So it does not matter also if you do not like it for the time being, but ultimately you like because you will know Mother has told us the truth. Now the second chakra, Swadhisthana, is also a very important chakra within us. This Swadhisthana chakra plays a very, very important part in our lives when in the modern times especially, because this is the center we use for planning, thinking, for all futuristic life, as well as our doing every sort of physical work. This center is the one that creates balances as well as imbalances. If you use this center in a wrong way, you create an imbalance within you of a very, very serious nature. For example, this center, Swadhisthana, looks after your aortic plexus in the gross. Aortic plexus, doctors know what it is. But this center is a subtle center placed in the medulla oblongata inside the spinal cord. Now, with this center, we think about the future or we can think about the past. We put in physical work also through this center. So it moves to the right as well as to the left. It is dangling in the air. This is the only center which moves on both the sides in such a big periphery, all round. And it can also retract and can go further with it. Now, when we have an imbalance in this, we really do not realize that we are leading an imbalanced life till we get into a serious trouble. This center has got to look after your liver, your kidney, your spleen, your pancreas, and your uterus. Plus, it has a very important work that when you think too much, the brain cells are used up to replace the brain cells from the fat cells from the stomach. It transforms the fat cells for the use of the brain. And this is a very important work it has to do. Can you put on this one, please? Right, yes. Now, when this chakra works more for thinking, for planning, it neglects its other work, which is also equally important, like liver and your pancreas and your kidneys, your spleen. And thus we develop diseases of liver, of all these organs. Out of this, liver trouble comes to us because of our overactivity. Also, it can come to us from inactivity of the liver. It can come to us from both the types of liver. Now, if you have an active liver, a very active liver, you develop a funny disease, we call it as biliousness. Your attention is always unhappy and you feel like vomiting all the time. You get very irritable and you have a temperament that you don't feel the peace within yourself. This is one. That means your attention gets absolutely disturbed because the liver is the one that really sustains your attention. So when your liver is out, your attention is funny, you don't know what to do with your attention, and all the time you feel, oh, it's terrible, and you feel very nervous and agitated and anxious. But then doctors do not know at that stage, I think, it's liver, which is bad. So what they do is to use something to find out about liver, what's wrong with the liver. But when they try to do that, it's not so easy to find out till you find the patient is lying just on the deathbed with a cirrhosis of the liver, and then they certify, now you are going to die. But in Sahaja Yoga, if you have a liver, at the very outset you can make it out that you have got a liver. Because as you know, on the fingers, it can be felt where the liver is, and if you see that this Svadhisthana chakra is catching with this center of Navi chakra, then it means you have a bad liver. And this liver is a very serious thing because it makes a personality absolutely useless for any communication after some time. Now the another thing is the neglect of other centers, like say your spleen. Now this is a very serious thing because if you are very hectic by temperament, and if you are all the time thinking of future, I have to go, I have to attend the office, I have to do this, I have to do that time this center, which is called as we call it the left Nabhi center, gets excited. And it hasn't got that, we should say that it hasn't got that attention that it requires, so it becomes very hectic itself. It goes into an emergency. All the time attending to your emergency, it is producing more and more red blood corpuscles and you become absolutely hectic. For example, people in the morning read the newspaper. First shock comes to them from the newspaper. Somebody died, something happened, something horrible things happened. Naturally, the poor spleen goes into action and it starts producing red blood corpuscles. That time you are having your breakfast, for example, so also additional emergency. Then you are suddenly rushing out. On the way you see a lot of this traffic and you have to catch up with the time and all that. All this modern life makes you that hectic, nervous, hasty, we can say, and a speedy person. This speed, actually the speedometer is your spleen. So poor spleen goes into a bizarre state. It cannot control your speed and it tries to keep the speed with you, your hectic nature, it becomes hectic itself. And then a disease which we call as leukemia, the blood cancer can develop. Blood cancer is the result of this kind of temperament and nature. Now there are many children who get blood cancer. I have seen many children suffering from blood cancer. And these children get it from the parents who are like this, hectic parents, who are anxious, we must go to the office, we must do this, we must get that, so many things at the same time. And such people get this trouble called leukemia and is absolutely curable through Sahaja Yoga. it is absolutely curable through Sahaja Yoga. It's not difficult to cure leukemia, but you have to continue with the practices of Sahaja Yoga so that you absolutely get cured, and then you can cure the leukemia of other people. Another thing that can happen to you is the kidney trouble. So the kidney becomes overactive. The activity of the kidney, too much, creates a problem within us which we call as hypertension, by which we get high blood pressures and things like that. People always tell, I suffer from high blood pressure. Dr. Warren himself, when he came to me, was a patient of high blood pressure and many other problems. But after Sahaja Yoga, you settle down. You find you strike the balance. You strike the balance because you don't think so much. The thinking that goes on like mad stops. If you want to think, you can think. If you don't want to think, you just don't think. You can stop it and sleep. But if you want to think, you can think it. But I met a doctor in Geneva who came to me. He said, Mother, cut my throat, do what you like, but stop this thinking. You see, it's so disgusting for some people that even if I don't want to think, this brain goes on chuck, 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 chuck like that, troubling me so much. But it is because of this center, which has gone out of its balance, and it does not know how to control. And that's why these things happen. Then your uterus also, women who think too much also can become, they may not produce any children. It's possible that they can become barren women because there's no nourishment to that uterus, and maybe they might develop troubles of the uterus. All these troubles come from this overthinking, futuristic attitude, speediness in life. One of them is diabetes. Now, diabetes will not occur to any ordinary farmer who doesn't think so much. But it will always happen to a man who's thinking about a big plan of how to project himself, his business plan or his other plans. All such people get diabetes. The reason is he thinks so much that there's no attention left to that poor pancreas, and the pancreas gets sick, and that's how he gets this disease of diabetes, which is supposed to be incurable, not in Sahaja Yoga. In Sahaja Yoga, diabetes is absolutely curable. Jaundice and all these diseases of the liver are also absolutely curable in Sahaja Yoga. By giving the balance to the people, you can achieve a lot, because this is what all the prophets told us, that we should lead a life of moderation, not to go to extremes. If you go to extremes, then you are not dharmic, means you are not sustaining yourself properly. Now, these are 10 valencies within us, in the human beings. In the common, there are 4 valencies, as you know. In every element, there are 8 valencies. And these valencies become 10 valencies in the human beings. Now, these are the 10 dharmas, as they call it, or the 10 kind of behavior or 10 kind of sustenance we have to look after. If we do not keep that balance of these 10 things, then we go off the balance. Like Buddha has told you, that you have to keep to the central path of ascent. And that's what exactly it is, that we have to keep to the central path of ascent. And if we cannot keep to the central path of ascent, then we suffer from, first of all, the physical problem. First of all, we suffer from the physical problem. And then we suffer also from mental problem, because we go into an imbalance. Now, when this chakra moves to the left side, we get into mental problems. Because when it goes to the left side, what happens is that we start using things like for our emotional behavior and emotional expressions, and too much of it. As a result of that, what happens to us, that we become possessed by another force that resides beyond this center. And beyond this center resides the collective subconscious. Now, this collective subconscious is a very dangerous area where people should not enter. Any person who says, I am very devoted, I am very dedicated, I must do this, without getting connection with the God, if you do all these things, your whole attention can be ruined. For example, supposing there's a telephone, and you are not connected, and you are using the telephone very fast, then what will happen? The telephone will go out of order, and you will have no connection. In the same way, the people who very earnestly try to do something without having connection with God, move to the left side, which is called as the collective subconscious area. And this is a very, very dangerous area within us. From there, many things which the doctors call as protein 58, but we call them as dead souls, attack. Doctors call it as protein 58 because they don't know what they are. But they say that these proteins come from the area which is unknown but existed within us since the day of creation. That means it is collective subconscious. And these proteins like 52 and proteins 58, they have tried to even photograph. And they said that when they attack us, then only cancer is triggered. But the vulnerable position of the cancer is created by our extreme behavior. Now, how cancer is created, we should try to understand. For example, the left side and the right side, as I told you, there are two powers, left and right side powers, which we work out. For example, the emotional on the left, and on the right-hand side, we have a power which we call as the power of action, where your physical and your mental efforts are expressed. Now, when you go to the extreme of these, then what happens? The connection between the left and right breaks, just breaks. And when it breaks, you start getting the power on its own because it breaks the connection with the whole. So, it is very arbitrary. It is not coordinated. It doesn't cooperate with the whole body. It just starts growing by itself. And one cell becomes big, or cells in the nose start becoming big and start covering the whole face. There's no relationship between the different organs and different parts of the face. It just starts growing, overpowering other cells, and that's how we call it a malignant growth or malignant cell. Now, when you go on like that, what happens? It breaks. And the deity, the one which controls it, the one which is inside it, just sleeps off. At that time, the best thing would be to awaken the deity. If you can awaken the deity, the whole thing comes back, and that's how we can cure the cancer of people. It's true, Sahaja Yoga can cure cancer. I have been telling this for the last, 12 years or so. That's only through Sahaja Yoga cancer will be cured. Now we have many doctors who are doing cancer research and all that. And we have one Dr. Sri Vardhan who is doing a research now on cancer. And he has accepted this, that it is only Sahaja Yoga will cure cancer. Otherwise, nothing can cure it, because when human beings go to the extremes, to the right or to the left, they do this to themselves. And they are vulnerable to be triggered by some sort of a protein which enters into your being and triggers this cancer. That's why doctors can remove your nose, they can remove your ears, they can remove this, they can remove that. But they can't remove the base of cancer. And the base of cancer is the center, the subtle center. And to attack that subtle center, one has to become a subtle person. The doctors have to become self-realized so that they can attack. Now in Sahaja Yoga, we have many doctors. And some are Russians, some are English, some are Indians. And they are all working it out together. And maybe that we may be able to publish a book on how to cure cancer with Sahaja Yoga, or how we have cured cancer with Sahaja Yoga. But the main thing is that we are not here to cure people, not to give cure to everyone, every Dick, Tom and Harry, as you can say, but we are here to give you realization. God's interest is in people who are seeking God, who are God's people. He is not interested in devils. Supposing tomorrow Hitler gets cancer, God won't be interested in curing him. So God's interest is mainly in people who are seeking Him and those who get enlightenment, and after their enlightenment, they can give light to others. God doesn't bother about people who are just wasteful, who are good for nothing. He has to look after the people who really will take up the cause of God and do His work after getting cured. Now, we had a patient today, this morning, who came to us, who went to some horrible guru and paid a lot of money to get epilepsy and then a brain cancer. Now, with Sahaja Yoga, he is very much cured. He's walking about. Of course, doctors had given up hope, that prepared for his death and all that. In your birth, we have got a case here who is now completely cured. He talks well, he walks well, and everything is going on well with him. But for this, he had to come to Sahaja. God is not going to fall at your feet, oh God, oh please listen to me, you're very sick and you must get well and this should happen. God is not interested. You have to be interested in him. That is one thing, that you have to be interested. Say your Prime Minister, if you want to meet him, he's not going to come and say, all right, come and see me, I want to meet you, please come. You have to go and see him. He's just a Prime Minister. But this I'm talking about, who is the Prime Minister of all the Prime Ministers, the highest of all. So you have to be interested about God. You have to get to him. You have to ask for it. Otherwise, he's not going to fall at your feet. That's important to understand. Now, so this center is, I have told you about Swadhisthana. Now, the next center is the center of Navi, which they have already explained to you what is Navi Chakra is. But we must know what diseases are called by Navi Chakra. First, it is on the left-hand side and right-hand side. There are two types of people, left Navi and right Navi. The people who suffer from right Navi are the people who have got all the problems of the liver. Now, there was a gentleman who was writing a thesis on alcohol. What is the chemical reaction on liver when we take alcohol? And through Sahaja Yoga only he realized what happens actually to this. That water is, as you know, is H2O. So H ions are on both the sides and O is here, is bound by that. H2O, there are two H and one O. Now when you start taking water, it keeps normal like that. And when the blood in the water comes in contact with the liver has the function to take away all the poison from the body as heat. It absorbs the heat and then transmits it as bile and it goes out of your system. But if you take, say, alcohol and all these things in a very strong way, not in moderation, but too much, then what happens? This H goes down like this. And a barrier is created. And when it goes near the liver cannot suck in the heat. It cannot suck in the heat. And that's how the heat is accumulated. The liver goes on malfunctioning and you always have the trouble of the liver. But supposing you come to Sahaja Yoga, then H moves like that. And all that is heat within you is passed into the liver. You'll be amazed when you will be doing Sahaja Yoga just now. We will be raising your Kundalini. In the beginning, you'll find a lot of heat will be coming out of your head before you start feeling the cool breeze of the Holy Ghost. First, the heat from the liver will be pouring out and you will feel very relieved when it's poured out. And then you will start feeling the cool breeze of the Holy Ghost in your hand, which is the all-pervading power of God, as I told you. That first time, after realization, you can feel that cool breeze within you. Now this chakra gets spoiled on the subtle when you are very money-oriented. If you are a very money-oriented person and you are always thinking about money, how to get more money like mad, you see there's a rat race of money. Then the center goes out, and when the center goes out, a person suffers from other troubles, not from money troubles maybe, but other troubles like he's emotionally dried out. He becomes an unemotional person. He becomes a person who has no feelings for anything. Then you must have heard about the great dacoits in India. And there is a lady who was a dacoit, a small little lady of 4 feet height. And she was a person, she was devoid of any emotions. She could kill anybody, she could do anything as long as she got the money. I mean, the whole emotional side is completely blocked of such a person who thinks too much of money all the time. And gradually he becomes very materialistic. And a person who is materialistic neglects his heart all the time. He neglects his emotions. He's worried more about the carpets, more about this, more about that, than the emotions of the people, than the feelings of the people. And this kind of imbalance can come when your Navi chakra goes out of order and you start putting all your attention to money. Now it's most surprising that the countries which are affluent have more money orientation than the people who are not. It's very surprising. Say, for example, in an Indian village, a person may not have so many things as you people have. But if you go to him, he'll be very happy. Whatever he has, he would like to serve you. His food, anything that he has. He would not like to see that you have not taken your food or your milk or something at his residence. He'll feel so obliged that you go and you serve him with that joy and with that love that he has. He would like to express his love. Now, people misunderstand. I've seen people who are affluent misunderstand. They think it's a slavishness. It is not. It is that they find joy in emotional life, in expressing their joy. To them, it does not matter if he has to starve for the day, it doesn't matter. But he has given you food, so he feels that satisfaction. Oh God, he's eaten at my place, so sweet of him. There's no slavishness, but is a kind of a expression of that love. But in the West, I found that people say that if you do that to somebody, then people misunderstand. They think you are a weak person as a sign of your weakness. I mean, I was amazed. How can it be? I live in an area which is supposed to be very posh and very, very rich people live there, very rich people. And once it was snowing very heavily in that area. And we were shifting that very same day. So I went round, there's a square where we live, so I went round the square and I deposited some things. And I saw a lady standing outside with a little baby in a pram. And another lady had opened her door a little bit and talking to her there. And the little baby was in the pram and it was snowing. Can you imagine? And this lady was talking. I came back after half an hour, still the lady was standing outside. She wouldn't open the door. And they are extremely rich people. I can't understand how can a person not feel that a little baby is in the pram. They hate children there. I've seen in that area, the people just hate their children. They beat them so badly. I'm amazed. And they give it to the servants, and the servants look after the children. In England, you'll be amazed that 2 children are killed by their parents every week. First, I used to think it is England, but it's not so. It is only in London this is happening. Can you believe a thing like that? I mean, in India, I can't think of one woman doing that. So emotionally, they are very strong people, but they lack other things which you have, which is to be combined with East and West and has to be brought to a balance. It should not be only emotional life that you want to have more children and more children. That's why more children are born in that country. They like to have more children. Apart from that, they are the only people who look after their children so well. So all children want to be born there also. They would not like to be born in places where the mothers are very haughty and angry for only a little carpet being spoilt or something if the children are spanked. So naturally, they would like to be born with parents who are natural, who are sweet to them. And that must be one of the reasons why we are suffering from overpopulation. While in Germany, it is minus. In London, it is minus. You go to Norway, it is minus. It is Sweden, it is minus. On top of that, people are committing suicides. They are competing among themselves. Who is doing it more? For example, if you go to, first I heard that it was in Sweden people were committing suicide more, but now Switzerland has taken over and they are double the number who are committing suicide. I can't understand. I had about 3 girls from Cambridge who came from Sweden. And they came to me and their vibrations were like dead people. Absolutely numb. I was shocked. These young girls between, say, 16 or 20, something like that, why should they not have that feeling of exuberance, that joy within them, bubbling with life, such young girls? And I asked them, I said, you come and see me in the house. I mean, I was really surprised. And when they came to see me, I asked them, what are you doing? They said, Mother, to tell you the truth, we are just planning how to commit suicide. Can you believe it? It's such a tragic thing. Young girls just planning how to commit suicide. But I said, why? Why are you not? What is so much? He said, nobody gives us love. Nobody loves us. There's no love. We've got money, we've got everything. We are daughters of rich families, but there's no love. And that's how we want to commit suicide. Just imagine. This is what is happening when one goes too much to materialism. Matter can never give us joy. Take it from me. It is also an economic science that the material things cannot give you satisfaction in general. They can give one particular thing. You buy now, you buy this, all right. Then you want to buy that. Then you want to buy something else. But in general, they are not satiable. That means matter cannot give us joy. That I do not say that we should not use the matter. You can use the matter for your purpose also when you know how to give it to others. The joy of matter is in giving. Perhaps we have missed the point, but after Sahaja Yoga, you will know that the joy of matter is only felt when you see the beauty of matter and when you see what it is to give to others. To give to others. It's not for yourself that you can ever enjoy, but only by giving others you enjoy the matter. All right, that's going to a very subtle point, but that is what happens to you, that you become extremely generous, and as a result of that, you enjoy the bliss and happiness and your own generosity within yourself. I'm supposed to be extremely generous, and sometimes Sahaja Yogis are quite worried about me that by the time I return, I will be finishing with all my saris and nothing will be left out of them. And they're all the time telling me, Mother, be careful, you are extremely generous. But I enjoy my generosity. I do not enjoy these possessions, so-called, than my generosity. Because if you have a possession, it's a headache. You have to go to the insurance, you have to worry that it should be kept all right. It's better to give it to somebody else and see on other people than to have your own. If you own it, it's a headache to you. But if you give it to others, it's nice. You enjoy it all right. You enjoy this hall very well without owning it. If you had owned it, it would have been a headache for you to go up there and look after everything, isn't it? It's better not to own these things. Let others have the headache and let's have the enjoyment. That's what is the policy in Sahaja Yoga you try to adopt. So now we have the center, another center which is very important, is the center of heart, central heart we call it, is the center of the mother of the universe. In Sanskrit she is called as Jagadamba. She is the one who stays there and gives you the sense of security. She looks after the saints who are trying to get out of this green thing, we call it as the ocean of illusion. She protects them, she gives them all the help, all the guidance, and tries to pull them out of the illusion. And this is the way she kills all the devils and the demons who are like fake gurus trying to put down the seekers into the illusion more. She's the one who's the remover of illusion. And this incarnates again and again on this earth to help the seekers to get out of the ocean of illusion. But when this center is in childhood, starts pulsating first, the sternum bone creates lots of antibodies, and these are actually the soldiers of the mother, and they go and get distributed in the whole body. When you see something coming upon you, you get a fear and you get a palpitation in here. That time, that frequency of palpitation informs these antibodies to be alert to fight the person who is trying to attack you. And that's why it is important to understand that this center builds up your sense of security. If this center is disturbed, your sense of security can be disturbed. Now the disease of this center is mainly breast cancer. When a woman is insecure in her life, she feels insecure, then she develops this trouble. When she is insecure as a mother, she gets this trouble of breast cancer. Now doctors won't believe it, but I have cured many breast cancers, and that can easily be cured by awakening this special power of the motherhood within you. You just become self-confident, and the disease is completely cured, eradicated, without going into any operation or anything like that. Now there are two other centers you see. The one on the right is of your own father, on the left is of your own mother. Or we can say is of fatherhood and motherhood. If you have been a bad father, or if your father has been not nice to you, this center suffers. If this center suffers, then you get the disease called asthma. Asthma can only be cured if you tell the person who is a Sahaja Yogi about your father, what the problem is, if your father has died, if he suddenly died, if you are missing him, or if there is a problem with your own child, anything like that. The quality of fatherhood is represented by that. The left side is the mother's thing. If the mother is not being very kind to the child could be erratic and could be very volcanic and temperamental, very temperamental he becomes. If he had not seen his mother, or mother has been a very unkind person, then such a person can be absolutely insecure all the time and could be all the time demanding attention from others and would be very, very aggressive on that point. So this is what it is. One has to understand that these two centers within us are important. After Sahaja Yoga, you start understanding your parents. Even if they have been very nasty to you, you try to forgive them, and they also come round very well, and good relations are established with parents. Because you are seekers, sometimes the parents don't understand you, because they have no seeking. That's the age group which may not understand your seeking. But when they see this transformation coming into you, then you completely changed. You are completely changed. I'll give you an example of a Swiss Sahaja Yogi who came to me, who has written a very big book on Sahaja Yoga called Advent. This boy had a father who was leading a life away from the family, gave up the mother, and he used to have some sort of a relationship, and he never had any good relations with his children. But when this boy came to Sahaja Yoga and his younger brother and his sister, he was amazed how they were transformed. Their ideas were transformed. They were leading such a nice life, very sane life, and that they were looking after him also, and they were doing whatever is possible just to make him happy. And this amazed him, because not like other children who just try to all the time say sharp things to the father and all that. Now, one day, one of the Sahaja Yoginis met him in a hotel somewhere, and another person started discussing about Sahaja Yoga. He said, I wish I was born at a time when Sahaja Yoga had started, because I would not have wasted my life like that. So the parents start seeing that how my children are changing, and then they take to your style of life, betterment of everything. Now, the last chakra I cannot tell you perhaps today is the Vishuddhi chakra, which you can read in the book, because already there's a lot of time and we have to have realization. But this is a very important chakra, because this gives you collectivity. This is the center of the primordial being. Is the center by which we know the whole, the Akbar, that they say Allahu Akbar. Is the Akbar, is the great primordial being, and we are part and parcel of that. So you feel the collectivity within you through this center. Those who spoil this center, you can spoil it by mantras, you can spoil it by talking too much, you may spoil it by not talking at all sorts of things. And this reflects in 16 subplexuses of the cervical plexus, which has got to look after your nose, eyes, throat, neck, the muscles of the eyes, and your forehead also. It's a very important center within us, which gives us collectivity. The sixth center, which is here, is the center of Agya Chakra. Agya Chakra is very important, because at this center, Lord Jesus Christ came in. He is the embodiment of that innocence, the Ganesha. He came on this earth incarnated, and he came with a special purpose. He came with a purpose to cross through that point, which was very much joined together. Because as we have the desire too strong and then to act on it too strong, these two forces combine together in such a way that there is no gap in between. So he came to go through that gap, to go through that cross, and that's why his crucifixion has a big message, that he came in our awareness to go through that position, which is very subtle, because he was himself the subtlest of subtle. He was the one who was the Omkara, is the one who was the Logos, as you call it, the vibrations as you see. He was that, and because his body was also made of that, he could get his resurrection. So the Christianity has the message of resurrection, and this is the time of resurrection. Because he is at the gate there, we all have to pass through that gate. But when you pass through that gate, what happens? The Kundalini awakens Jesus Christ. And when Jesus Christ is awakened, both these institutions are of ego and superego are sucked in. Once they are sucked in, you find that this place in your head becomes opened out. When this place becomes opened out, you find that this Kundalini also starts pulsating, and afterwards you find her coming out of your head and giving you a cool breeze. That's how you achieve your self-realization. So that's how it happens. And the seventh chakra, I think when you come to the program of the centers and all that, they'll explain to you what is seventh chakra and how it is integrated of all the six chakras. And the seventh one, which is the heart here, heart, which is the spirit. In the heart resides the spirit, and the nature of the spirit, yesterday I tried to tell you in short. That's what you have to be. Sat, Chit, Anand means truth, attention, and joy. Your attention gets enlightened, you get the absolute truth, and you become the joy. This should happen to all of you. I hope in this short time I've been able to explain to you the subtle side of these chakras as well as of the gross. But the subject matter is so great that you will be amazed that at least from London they have got at least 1,000 tapes here, which you can listen to them on various aspects and dimensions of life and enjoy your realization. Like a bird, after coming out of the egg, enjoys all the dimensions of beauty and the glory. May God bless you. If you have any questions, please ask. There's one more thing which somebody asked me about, somebody who was curing, you see, someone through so-called spiritual help. Is not God's help. As I told you, this is coming from the left or the right side. It's not God's help. Because if the God's power starts working in you, it transforms you also. If it does not transform you, you are just like a radio. The music is coming through it and going not to the radio. But if it is transforming you completely, then it is God's work. Otherwise, it is the work of the spirits who are just trying to play some tricks. They are busy bodies, so they just try to help you. But don't go near them. They are horrid. They'll remove one disease and you'll have another one.
Any questions?
You stand there. What's this?
Any questions? Yes.
Mother, I understand that astrology is very important in India. Astrology. For example, an individual, not only an individual but a nation, can be born in a particular astrological era. Is the same true of chakras? For example,
Yes.
could Australia be in one particular chakra, or India in one particular chakra?
Yeah, he speaks of astrology, this one's.
He's a realized soul, so I can hear him clearly. No problem. Now, it's true, what you say is true also, that the centers that we have, as you see, are 7 centers. Then we have moon and sun, 9 centers, and there are 3 above us. They are called, I don't know if I should confuse you, but they are called as Ardha Bindu, Bindu, and Valaya. These are 3 centers above realization. These you have to achieve in your realization later on. So now we have 12 of these, and these 12 things make for the gross, we should say for the gross body of a human being through astrology. But we have in India a method which we call as Krishnamurti Paddhati, where they can talk about the spiritual side of these centers. We have a very nice thing developed in India, very nice. Now, when these fake gurus came in, their birthdays were taken into account, and immediately this astrologer cast the horoscopes, and they said they are all fake, they are Rakshasas, they are this, they are that. So they changed all of them, their birth dates and everything. It's really remarkable how they changed their birthdays first, and then they said they don't remember this, that, and all sorts of things. But you should see, they have published a very authentic magazine which is dealing from Madras on astrology, my horoscope. It's amazing how they have predicted all the things, even about birth. Perhaps they have said that I'll be touching Australia and the Australians will be the great Sahajogis. It's surprising.
He also asked the question, are there chakras on this earth, and might Australia be a chakra?
It is. Australia is the Muladhara itself. It's the biggest chakra that you could think of. It's the Muladhara itself. It's the first center. You see, if you see Perth is all red everywhere. If you see, it's you have got in the center of Australia Sri Ganesha sitting down. What do you call that?
Ayers Rock.
Huh?
Ayers Rock.
Yes. Is you can see his trunk also red like that. East Muladhara itself is one of the biggest centers in Sahaja Yoga. Is this?
And interestingly enough, it's precisely the same longitude of
Europe is the
latitude
liver.
as the birthplace of Sri Mataji. Precisely the same latitude as the birthplace of Sri Mataji in India. As it is on the Tropic of Cancer, so it is on the Tropic of Capricorn. Almost.
Yes. Australia is very important from Sahaja Yoga point of view, very important. You see, your basic quality is innocence, imagine. Australia, according to Sahaja Yoga, Australia stands for innocence. Just a minute. Let me finish one. And this innocence is your basic quality. According to Sahaja Yoga, Europe is the liver and London is the heart. India is the Kundalini.
A translation of the Nabi.
Nabi means navel. All right? It's navel. Nabi is, I went to Athens and they told me this is the navel of the universe. I've been telling them that Europe is the navel. And there, they said, in Delphi, they said this mound, it represents the navel of the earth. So I tried to feel the vibrations, it was. But I turned around, I said, why these vibrations are coming? And there it was, Sri Ganesha sitting there, like an elephant, little elephant. So I asked the translator, I said, what is this? She said, oh, little elephant sitting down there, just imagine. The Mother Earth has created. This is all created through Mother Earth, which is said in the Bible that thou shalt not worship or reproduce something that is created by the Mother Earth. And what is that? That we call as Swayambhu, the one which is created by Mother Earth. And this is one of them, is your Sri Ganesha created in the center of Australia.
Sorry, your question's not clear.
Please stand up, all right? We can't hear,
Stand up.
please.
Stand up.
Yes, please.
When you do your yoga concentration, as she calls it, do you concentrate on the void as well as the Nabi?
No, not at all. No, not at all. Not to concentrate on your Nabi or anywhere. Now see, concentration part doesn't play much part in Sahaja Yoga. First you allow your attention to be absolutely free, all right? Then the Kundalini rises. She rises and comes out of your Brahmarandra, as we call it. In case your attention is very wobbly, then we'll say that pay attention here a little bit. But there's no need at all. The Kundalini comes up and she breaks through. You have to leave your attention little loose, not to bother about it. But later on, what happens, that when supposing you have a Nabi problem, as you were saying, in the solar plexus you have a problem, the Kundalini will again go back and hit there, and your attention will be drawn automatically. You don't have to pay attention to it, you will be drawn. Then by your attention, you can raise the Kundalini. So you don't have to concentrate anywhere, just like that. It's like if you are driving, then you have to just concentrate on driving itself. But if you concentrate on any point, you are finished. So you must know where you are and where you have to move. Before realization, there's no question of concentration. It can spoil you completely.
Mataji, is realization synonymous with enlightenment?
Yes, of course.
So all your followers that have received realization are in fact enlightened?
Yes. You see, it means you have to be enlightened. It also means Atma Sakshatkar. It also means what you call that, to be the peer in this thing. In Lao Tse, I think he says Tao. That's, you have to become that. There are so many things. Everybody has said it is that you have to have. Yes.
Perhaps you could explain the meaning of this. On one occasion,
He was flying over the Ganesha.
He went up on the night of a full moon. He was absolutely frightened and shaking. And
On Ganesha.
It was like being confronted with eternity.
like being confronted by eternity.
My child, you have been to all horrible gurus. See, naturally, Ganesha was trying to frighten you there. He frightens, not only that, he is the one who gives you all these horrible experiences of heat and these blisters, and he is the one who gets angry. Because he doesn't like the way people are. You see, it's the one, he is the one who gets upset. Kundalini is there. He looks after her protocol, but he cannot understand why people are doing wrong things, going to the... Because he's wisdom. He's the embodiment of wisdom. And if you have done something unwise, he gets angry with you. That must be the reason. You have seen some people who come to me also shake in the beginning a little bit. Doesn't matter.
Any other questions?
Are you all right now? Good. Good now.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter. It's good. What is it?
Can she be healed? She had a stroke some years ago.
Yes, yes, of course.
Have you got paralysis?
Partial paralysis.
Yes, listen, this is nothing that can be healed, no doubt. I can't hear it.
Are you saying, does she emit emanation? Does she...
Can't hear it. Madam, please get up. We can't hear you, all right? What is
She can understand about the enlightenment. She cannot understand about the emanations of, probably she means your power.
You will understand that, all right? Gradually, everything you can't understand in one day, can you? You will understand everything. You don't worry about me. You just worry about yourself. I have not said anything about myself. Have I said? I never said anything. I have been very humble. I have never said anything. I dare not. Because it's not wise. I have learnt it. See, those who said it at a bad time, it's difficult. If you say something about yourself, suddenly the ego will come and just punch at you. No, it's very bad. I have never said a word about myself. So you don't try to understand me just now. First you understand yourself, all right? Then you understand.
Okay, any other questions? Otherwise we'll have the experience of self-realization. This is what mothers come for. Really, a lecture is not the important part. The experience of self-realization is it. We'll switch the fans off and you'll feel it for yourself. Any other questions? Could you turn the fans off?
We, your devotees, do you always look after this?
If these people are your devotees, do you look after them?
What else I do? I look after them. Ask them, better ask them if I have looked after them or not.
I think it's obvious that insofar as all of us have got physically well, our nervous, mental, psychological problems have been healed. If we're endangered by an accident, if there's any particular problem which we want to solve within our own life or within relationships, we put that at the attention of Almighty God. And by doing so, we find that it gets solved. We've got all sorts of little methods by which we work things out. We showed you some of them today. In working out how the chakras are cleared, you can learn all of these things at the center. There are certain aspects which you won't fully understand until you actually achieve the awakening of Kundalini, but as you grow in it, you'll understand more fully how the blessings of God actually descend upon you in a tremendous way. Your well-being is cared for, your health is cared for, your psychological problems are solved. You become a complete and whole person, and this This is the very beautiful part. When this lady asked, is enlightenment synonymous with self-realization? The answer is yes, but it's a growth process. You touch it, or maybe you go more than that at the beginning. And from that touching of self-realization, you grow from that point to a complete realized being. But you are an enlightened being because you've started that final journey in your spiritual evolution. We've had a human evolution this far. Now we've reached our spiritual evolution, and the road is very, very rapid now. Because in this lifetime, we can achieve that state of full realization just by these techniques, very simple techniques that will be shown to you by the devotees of Sri Mataji.
But I must confess one thing to you people, that your guru was very allergic to flowers and things. I am very allergic to this dress, absolutely, because this is not your style. You see, this dress is to be worn by people who lead an absolute celibate life and is meant for people who are not householders. And another thing is, if you read Valmiki Ramayana, I don't know people read that or not, where Sri Sita has said that a sannyasi has nothing to do with householders at all. If there's a real sannyasi, he should stay out of the city, out of the village, only for birthday. And he is to be given 1 day alms and finished with it. Because you know what happened with that? That Ravana came in this dress. And that's how I'm very allergic to this dress. Because it's not true. It's not true. Have you renounced the whole world? You have not. So not to go in for this kind of a thing. You have to be normal people. You have to be living normally, accepting what you are, and not announcing something which you are not. You see, this is what the gurus do. They give you a dress and this thing. So if you want to have Sahaja Yoga, of course today I hope I'll give you realization. But afterwards you give up all this nonsense. You become normal people. We have to be absolutely normal. Nothing abnormal about it, recluses, funny type. Not. We have to get the whole world out of their problems. We can't just do it for ourselves, individual, some sort of a nonsense. No. We have to be responsible for the whole world. We have to be absolutely normal people, behave in a normal way, not in an abnormal way. Alright? So I'm very allergic to this stress. I'm just telling you, I hope I give you realization, because you are seekers, I can see that all of you are seekers. You should get your realization. But I'm absolutely allergic to this, because their guru is allergic to flowers. Imagine, God is so fond of flowers. I can't do without flowers. I can't understand. How can any saintly man be allergic to flowers?
Okay.
So,
Any last question? Then we'll have it.